Hi, it's Rich Hoffman here. I'm here with Todd Minniear, one of my favorite trustees in the entire world. But he's here in Liberty Township. One of my favorite gifts I've given a couple years ago when you were elected. He's had great policy. He's brought a lot of good conservative ideas to Liberty Township, which is a challenge. Liberty Township's been a great place to live, northern suburb of Cincinnati. I recently did a segment with Mark Welsh, who's another good trustee, great trustee from just south of Liberty Township. And if you go across from where Liberty Center is, which is where we're at, Westchester's just on the other side of the road there.
Right.
So we have some great leadership that often doesn't get talked about in these trustee positions that are key to keeping things vibrant. There's a reason why this is a vibrant development. And recently he's been kind of the leader on a residential policy where we're talking about high density populations. When you have a great place that everybody wants to move to, of course the temptation is make it so that more people can move there.
Yeah.
And then you have commercial districts like this, which is, Liberty Center is essentially like a mini city, so you don't have to go to the city. We just kind of took a spot of land and built a town on top of it, and then all these great commercial districts came in as great restaurants, and it's there to facilitate all that great quality living.
Right.
But
yeah, good description. Yeah.
But everybody wants to move here now, and then there's the temptation to build apartments everywhere because people can't afford the $400,000 to $600,000 price range it takes to live in the area. So the temptation is we'll make it affordable so more people can live here and go to all these great businesses. But if you do that, now you've lowered the quality of living and population density, and then the expectations of how hard you have to work sometimes to even have property in a place like this.
Yeah.
So you want to be fair and nice to everybody, but that's the kind of challenges that you as a trustee have to deal with. And recently, I saw there was an article about you in the paper. I thought they were kind of disingenuous in the way they poised it. It's like Liberty Township's closing its borders to other families who could come in here and have affordable living.
Yeah.
It's like we're putting a fence up and nobody who can't afford to can't live here.
Yeah.
And that's not the message.
Right. Yeah.
So it's passed.
Yep.
We have good board members, genuinely for trustees in Liberty Township, and you managed to get your statement about population density. It's a big thing for you. It's always been an issue with you.
Yep.
Protecting property that's already here from the temptations of just building apartments everywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it's a big step.
There's so much that you said that we could dovetail off of and talk about, but big picture, I think, for Liberty Township, and I think my fellow two board members would agree with this, is that Liberty Township is the best place to live in Southwest Ohio. I might be biased, but I think there's a lot of evidence to support that, and we want to keep it that way. And part of keeping it that way is the balance that you're talking about between residential development and population growth and commercial. And so Liberty Township, we are a little bit behind on our commercial development now. Now Liberty Center is a great example of making gains and headway on that.
It's mostly full, a lot of diversity in it.
Yeah, and we just came through the COVID period a few years ago, and we're still coming out of that. And but Liberty Center has bounced back tremendously from that period of time. And as you said, we're largely full here at Liberty Center. I claim it as the best entertainment, dining, and retail location in the Cincinnati area, without question.
I think so, and I think across the nation, there's some good stuff in Columbus. There's good stuff at the Dayton, the Greens. It's kind of like this. I remember when they pitched this in Las Vegas, when it was like the latest up and coming residential / commercial property district. What's really interesting about this, I really like how they built the street frontage. There's a movie theater there. There's a Cooper's Hawk down there. And there's all down this street. There's some great commercial districts, and above it's office space. And it's all around here. There's some condos over there. So we're up on kind of a second story here. It gives you the cityscape feel. That's just great for commercial business, and it lasted through COVID. It's economy's coming back on, so it's starting to kick in, and we're getting a lot of good looks. One thing I want to talk about regarding this is that property over there where Ford's Garage is this building back here is AC Hotels by Marriott. Very nice hotel to have in Liberty Township. Highway's just right over here, just north of Cincinnati, so people can come into town, stay up here, not deal with the traffic downtown. So there's a lot of good amenities. That's a nice hotel. So right across from it is a Ford's Garage, and that's one of those high-end kind of vacation type restaurants. You find it in Vegas, you find it in Orlando, Florida. You find it in those kinds of places.
Florida.
And there's one here in Liberty Township.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be there, I don't think, if not for you.
Yeah.
Because it was sitting open, and you have this beautiful square here in front of the hotel. The cinema's here. This is a Kona Grill, really nice place to eat. But that was empty. So the square had this dead zone for like 4 years.
Yeah.
And they wanted to buckle and put up apartments right there. And that's not the kind of frontage that makes people like come out of the theater and say, hey, let's go get a burger. Instead, it's like, hey, let's just go home and go to bed.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
so
totally.
You said, no, let's not fall for that temptation. And you held out, and then that came in.
Right.
And to thank you for it, they have a hamburger name for you in there.
They do.
And when I go in there, I get a Todd Minniear burger.
It's a Ford signature Todd Minniear burger.
Yes,
So it was kind of fun thing that they do is they create a Burger Hall of Fame, and Sheriff Jones and other people in the community, and I got
on the
lucky
menu
enough to get on the menu. But yeah, you're right. It's a great example of pausing, I would say, on making a decision or saying no to saying yes to something better.
Yep.
And that's the something better that you described so well. So again, a good example of a premier brand and dining location that fits perfectly with this particular area of the center. There's
an agave and rye right there,
Yep.
which is a super cool little taco place.
Yeah.
Stays busy all the time, so much so that I mean, we're kind of in the middle of the day on a Sunday here, but at nighttime, all that traffic spills over to the street, and it's like crazy. It's really, really cool.
Well, and you mentioned the hotel too, and the hotel is full all the time, and we could actually use another hotel here. And we, like about a little more than a year ago, we approved another hotel here at Liberty Center. It hasn't started yet, and the exact location has not been determined. But the good thing about hotels in an area like this is, one, we get an extra tax benefit locally for the township from hotels with a local tax, which is helpful. And two, when you think about comparing an apartment, for example, to a hotel, if you get a full hotel with 200 rooms in it versus a full apartment with 200 rooms in it, the residents of the hotel, you can expect that almost breakfast, lunch, and dinner, they're coming out here and they're dining and they're shopping at these retail locations every single day for every meal and everything that they're doing. The apartment people aren't doing that. They're coming, maybe a couple times a week. And so it's a huge economic benefit to these businesses.
And the apartment people are voting with the people who come to the hotel leave.
Right.
And then, you don't want people who don't have a huge investment in the community voting for schools, school levies, deciding how you spend your money. That becomes a problem, because then you have people who don't have an investment in maintaining the property value. And of course, the accusation is that you're being exclusive, but you also have to have people who have ownership in the community voting.
Yeah.
That's how you maintain. That's where all these Democrat-run areas go bad, is they start getting all this population density comes in. They start voting for people who don't handle the money well, and then they wonder why things aren't so good in 10 years.
Yeah.
And so the struggle we're talking about is, look, we got to draw a line here. We want more hotels. We want more commercial stuff. We have residential. There's a whole bunch of apartments that were just built right down this street, and I think it's great. I think it's cool that people who live here, their kids grow up, who can then stay here because they can't afford a house of their own yet, can stay in the area. But you got to limit to a certain amount of that, and there's a whole lot of that over there.
Yeah.
But how do you balance it?
Right. Well, and so that kind of dovetails into what you brought up originally, is the action that the Board of Trustees, myself and my two fellow trustees, took recently for Liberty Township, which in essence well, specifically changes our comprehensive plan, which is the definition of our future development throughout the township and undeveloped areas, and says what we will allow in certain places. And we have made the decision to disallow apartments and attached single family like condos and townhomes and things like that.
That sounds logical.
Right, and so you say, well, and you do need a balance of different type of housing units, but we feel like, I felt like that we have achieved that balance with really largely what's happened along Liberty Way here. I'll take you back to the original Liberty Center development had, I'll give you round numbers here, about 280 apartments as part of the Liberty Center development. Since that time, the board had approved those that you highlighted there, which is a little over 400. Another one, that's a lot. It is another one that will be built eventually behind Ford's Garage that was approved. And then you go up to Costco, and there's 400 plus being built there right now. You see them coming up from the ground, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then you keep going down the road just a little further, another quarter mile from there, and you've got a 5-story apartment building that was approved. So we went from, on this strip of having an original plan of 280 apartments to almost 2,000 approved, about 1,700 approved in those that I just mentioned.
So what's the population density now? What's the projection for that?
Well, I mean, you figure 2.5 people per apartment, and there's your math. You got another 4,000 residents in the township, and so a couple things about that. One, from a tax standpoint, I'll talk in general terms. Apartments pay maybe 70 cents in taxes for every dollar that they consume in services. So police, fire, schools, roads, etc., right?
Yep.
And then on the opposite side of that equation is commercial. And so commercial, and again, it depends on the type of business, etc., but is normally paying $1.20 to $1.50 for what they consume. So when I say that we need more commercial, that's part of the reason, is to support the tax base in the township, right?
Yep.
And so we've kind of swung the pendulum pretty aggressively towards the high density residential, at least in this area. And so when people say, well, you're against, affordable housing for people, or again, whatever they say about it, I say, we got it. We got enough of it right now. It's not that we don't have it. And if you look across the township, I mean, we have other apartments down here, other low dollar, high density housing over by Liberty Junior School. And if you really look around, we have a lot of, patio home and condo type stuff over the past 10 or 15 years that's popped up. So when people talk about having the balance, they got it already.
You want a lot of people to serve all the different businesses. That's what feeds it. But ideally, you want to protect your property values of people who are here. You want people to come in from other places, go to the restaurants, go stay at the hotels, pay their taxes. You get a lot more per dollar use out of that because they're leaving. You keep the money on the taxes, and then you don't have the density.
Yeah, perfect. And that's really the key to a development like this. Yes, the apartments will help a little bit in terms of patronage of these businesses, but really to be successful, which Liberty Center is successful, is you have to draw from a 30 or 40 minute radius of the community to be successful. It's about pulling people in. It's not about dumping tons of people here to live, right? So we feel like we're finding the right balance. And as you know, Liberty Center, when you get, and we're being smart about where we have density. If you're going to do all of this, this is the perfect place to do it, right? Right along Liberty Way.
Highway's right there.
I-75's right there.
You can get on the highway exit and go somewhere quickly, but you're not clogging up all these traffic lights.
Yeah, you're not infringing on the residential, beautiful, low-density residential community.
Because that's what Liberty Township was always known for.
That's it. And that's what the people here still want.
Farms
too, right?
and fences.
Yeah,
that's what they wanted. It's not so much that now. It's more symbolic of that, but that's how it got its name.
Yeah. And so anyway, we're protecting the center of the township with that lower density living. And yes, it's not going to stay farms forever everywhere, but when we develop residential, you're going to be looking at, and this was part of our resolution changes as well, we're moving more towards from what was defined in the comp plan on the residential side on almost 2,000 acres of property, about 10,000 square feet per lot. Well, our guidance now has jumped to 20,000 square feet per lot. So in essence, that's another change that lowers density. You've cut your future housing on those parcels in half too. So we're listening to the people. We're protecting the space, and I think we've got a great balance. And we're set up to attract more businesses, and whether it be here or Milliken Interchange.
Milliken Interchange, right over here.
Yeah.
Just one exit down.
Yeah. So you think about Milliken, and we recently jump into another topic, but we recently went through a rezoning of about 700 acres up near the Milliken Interchange, which is largely estate residential today and farms.
Yeah.
And we're trying to pull big businesses that have great paying jobs to that interchange area, right? And so again, for all the tax benefits that we talked about, and that supports the community. And man, it's just going to be such a great opportunity up there as well, because again, if you look at that 40-mile driving radius that you and I talked about, you get about 2 million people within 40 minutes of Milliken Interchange, right?
Yeah.
So businesses who want employment base, what better place in Ohio right now can you be than Milliken, which is almost exactly halfway between Cincinnati and Dayton. And then you've got these other surrounding to the east and the west population bases. I mean, you're going to have employees out the wazoo, and then you take Liberty Township as a great place to live. Those executives and those senior people in those companies are going to be like, yeah, I'd like to live there too.
Yeah. That way you don't have to go anywhere.
So we're set up really well as we go forward.
Yeah, why don't we go? Let's go down here and just go to the square, because I like people to see what's cool about it. Because it's really interesting how this whole development occurred, and it's just one of the very lucrative places to invest, I think. I was in Japan recently, and they have all over their cities, they're very clean, almost no crime. They have nothing like that going on. It's always very clean, but they have all these convenience stores, in the middle, of the city. I mean, you get those in downtown Cincinnati too, but they're very nice in Japan. And this place could use some of that.
Yeah.
They say you want more incentives to help bring those people in, because it's got a lot of good retail, a lot of good places to get like clothes, jewelry, sunglasses. But what you need is more stuff that supports the living, like milk at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Or convenience store in this area, which is a great concept that hopefully the Liberty Center leadership is thinking about. And you're right, as you build up the more residential, the local shopping for is something that
like a little corner store like this could be like a little convenience store for all these residents. Because if I was a person that moved into one of these apartments or condos, like there's condos right there. The whole thing is park your car and just get everything you want.
Right.
You go to your job. In some cases, the jobs are up there in those those business complexes. You live there. You eat here. You could shop at one of these little convenience stores, get your milk, get your pack of gum, get your lottery ticket, whatever's going on.
Yes.
But last time I was in Japan, I was with a friend who brought this up to me, and he comes up here all the time to walk his dog and just kind of get out and walk around. He's like, but there's nowhere to get a snack.
Yeah.
So the Whole Foods thing was kind of exciting, but that's going to be up over there.
Right.
For sustainable living here, like the people who are staying in those hotel rooms or the apartments that are going behind Ford's garage here, or those guys in the condo over there, you want them, they need somewhere to kind of just stay there and get their stuff.
Right, absolutely.
And I think when you're trying to shop at a community like this and you're trying to get a balance, there's a lot of good restaurants. When people come to see me from places for like business get-togethers, we used to go downtown. We used to go to the Boathouse, used to go to Jeff Ruby's.
Sure.
Now they ask to come here.
Yeah.
I don't even have to say, hey, you want to go fight the traffic, go downtown. They want to go to Liberty Center because it has such a great offering. But part of that comes from policy, like what you did. That would be an apartment complex if not for you. That is a very nice place to eat. I like eating there. I like going to see a movie there. I like going to eat there, and I like bringing people here to entertain them when they're in from out of town.
Yeah.
But like you said, you need more of this.
Right.
You need less of the population density. You need more people coming here, pay taxes, they get on a plane and fly away.
Exactly.
And you lure them here for that reason.
Yes, because again, the apartments are the double-edged sword, right? Because they bring cost associated to the taxpayers of the community. You know, their kids are going to schools. That puts more pressure on Lakota.
Oh yeah.
You know, higher density developments, oftentimes evolve to, driving more need for police services and fire and EMS as well. Crime rates often in high density areas get higher, and so the taxpayers around Liberty Township all have to pay for that. And so that's the watch out, and that's one of the key reasons why we've done what we've done and stopped the future apartment high density stuff. And it's a unique decision. It takes a lot of courage, I think, of a board of trustees or county commissioners to make a decision like this, because you get a lot of pressure.
There's a lot of pressure,
right?
That's why we're talking about it.
Do these things, right? And so we are extremely unique in making this decision, and a lot of our surrounding areas kind of are going the opposite way, and I'm thankful that we're not, and I think our residents are thankful.
Well, when I say that I like you so much, and you're such a gift to be a trustee here in Liberty Township, it's because I've known a lot of good people who get these positions, and you know how it is. They all these special interest people show up. They're the only ones that show up to the meeting, and they're out there saying, hey, I want this little thing. And it's real easy to look them in the face and say, okay, I'll do what I can for you.
Yeah.
It's hard to say no. Yeah. And it's hard to shape things based on a philosophy. And if you're trying to create a philosophy of value, it takes guts. And I think what you did took guts. And it makes it easier for other people to attach themselves to it once they've seen it. But the reason we're talking about it here is because that's some of the management decisions that go on that nobody knows about. The newspapers never catch it, because you get some kid, 25-year-old kid right out of college, has got their first reporter as a reporter for the news on the local newspaper, and they give you a 300 or 400 word article, and they don't get it.
Yes.
They're like, well, is there going to be a gap? Is there going to be a new bar? What's the point in this? They don't understand, because they're not even thinking about buying a $600,000 house.
Yes.
Yet.
Yes, and again, I want to be clear. I'm not anti-development at all, and the board's not anti-development, but we need to, when it comes to residential, it needs to be the right type of development, and we need to draw more commercial, which we are beginning to do, and a lot more to come in the next few years.
Well, that's great, and the Milliken interchange is exciting.
Yes.
What's going on over here with Costco, which is just across the highway where all those apartments are going. There's a Christ Hospital over there. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of good stuff in this area.
Yes.
But the commercial stuff is important to keep protected, all the investments in property value that is elsewhere in Liberty Township, because this is on the edge of Liberty Township.
Yes.
Most of it is that way,
right.
And it's used to be farms, it turned to subdivisions, but everybody's bought a piece of the American dream, and they want to keep it that way. So you want to develop all this good commercial stuff, but you got to find that balance, and I think you've done a lot to make that happen.
Thank you. Yes, I feel good about where we are and where we're headed, and very, very exciting stuff. Good stuff.
Well, that's good. Well, anyway, I really appreciate the good work. I'm glad to talk about it. I hope everybody learns that it's hard to make spaghetti in the kitchen when it comes to some of the hard political decisions. But that right there, Ford the Garage, is one of those great examples of how saying no sometimes turns into a very good yes. Because we wouldn't have that if you hadn't said no initially. And I think we would call it a good day today and go in there and get a Todd Minniear hamburger.
On the way.
Yeah. Anyway, Rich Hoffman here. Share, subscribe. Next time you get a chance to vote for this guy, do so.
This November.
Is it this November already?
Yes.
No, my goodness. This November.
Yes.
Vote for Todd Minniear, because he's part of the step forward that we've been looking for in Liberty Township.
Yes.
Anyway, have a good day.
Thank you all.